The first time Arav saw Mira, she was arguing with a coffee machine. Not complaining, not frustrated, arguing. "You can't just refuse to work," she whispered fiercely, tapping the side of the machine like it had personally betrayed her. "I have a presentation in 10 minutes. This is emotional sabotage." Arav, standing 2 feet away with his empty cup, tried not to laugh. Failed. The sound slipped out, soft but unmistakable. Mira turned slowly, eyes narrowing. For a moment he thought she might throw the cup at him. "Do you find this funny?" she asked. "Only slightly," he admitted. "But in my defense, you're negotiating with a machine. It started it," she said, completely serious. He stepped forward, pressed a button she'd missed, and the machine hummed to life. Coffee streamed out obediently. Mira stared, then at him, then back at the coffee. "You're a wizard. I get that a lot," he said. "Mostly from people who don't read instructions." She took the cup, still suspicious. "I was reading. It just skipped a step." "Of course it did." She smiled despite herself, and something warm and unexpected settled in his chest. It was the kind of smile that didn't just sit on her lips. It lit her entire face, like a secret the world didn't deserve but she shared anyway. "Thank you," she said. "You've saved my career. Happy to be credited in your success speech." She laughed, and then she was gone, rushing down the hallway with her coffee and her chaos. Arav thought that would be the end of it. It wasn't. They kept colliding after that. In the elevator, in the cafeteria, once, disastrously, in the parking lot where Mira dropped an entire stack of files and Arav dove to help, their hands brushing as they reached for the same page. It was a small touch. Accidental, but it lingered. "Sorry," she said, pulling back too quickly. "It's okay," he replied, equally flustered. They both laughed, the sound awkward and electric. Over time, their collisions became conversations. Conversations became rituals. Morning coffee together. Complaints about work. Jokes that no one else would understand. Mira learned that Arav hummed when he was thinking. Arav learned that Mira bit her lip when she was nervous, the space between them filled with things unsaid. One rainy evening, they were the last two in the office. The storm outside rattled the windows, the city blurred into silver streaks. The power flickered once, twice, and then surrendered. Darkness swallowed the room. Mira gasped. Arav instinctively reached for her, his hand finding hers in the black. She squeezed back, not letting go. "I hate the dark," she admitted softly. "I'm here," he said, surprised by how much he meant it. They stood like that, hand in hand, listening to the rain. Without the lights, without the noise of the world, everything felt stripped down to its truth. Her thumb traced small, nervous circles against his skin. His heart pounded so loudly he was sure she could hear it. "I think," Mira whispered, "this is the longest I've ever been quiet." "I don't mind," Arav replied. "It's nice." "Nice? Yeah, like." The world paused for a second. "And it's just us." The words hung there, fragile, honest. The lights flickered back to life. They dropped each other's hands like they'd been caught doing something forbidden. But the warmth remained, ghosting their palms. That night, Arav couldn't sleep. Every time he closed his eyes, he felt her hand in his again. Every time his phone buzzed, his heart leapt. At 2:17 a.m., a message appeared. "Mira, are you awake?" He stared at the screen for a full 10 seconds before replying. "Arav, now I am." 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. "Mira, I keep thinking about the power cut." His breath caught. "Arav, me too." Another pause. "Mira, I didn't want to let go." There it was, raw and terrifying and perfect. "Arav, you didn't have to." The reply came instantly. "Mira, I know." Silence stretched. Then, "Mira, this is a bad idea, right?" Arav thought of office gossip, complications, risks. He thought of her smile, her laugh, the way she said his name like it mattered. "Arav, probably." "Mira, and we're still going to do it?" He smiled into the dark. "Arav, definitely." Their first date was simple. Street food, a long walk, no grand gestures, no rehearsed romance. Just two people who already knew the rhythm of each other's presence. They talked about everything, childhood dreams, regrets, the futures they were afraid to want too loudly. At some point, Mira stopped walking. "What?" Arav asked. She looked at him like she was memorizing his face. "You feel safe," she said. The word hit him harder than love ever could have. "You feel like home," he replied. Her eyes shimmered. She stepped closer, close enough that he could count the freckles on her nose. Close enough that the air between them turned heavy with possibility. "If I kiss you," she murmured, "I'm not taking it back." Good, he said, voice unsteady. I don't want you to. The kiss was soft, careful, a promise, not a storm. But it sent warmth racing through him, settling deep in his bones. When they pulled apart, they were both smiling like they'd discovered something sacred. From that moment on, the world felt different. Brighter, sharper. Every ordinary day carried a secret glow because they shared it. Love didn't arrive like thunder. It arrived like a heartbeat. Steady, certain, impossible to ignore. Months later, during another storm, they stood by the same office window where it had all begun. The city shimmered below them. Do you remember the coffee machine? Mira asked. How could I forget? My greatest achievement. She laughed, leaning into him. That was the moment, she said. The moment what? The moment my life tilted a little. I just didn't know it yet. Arav wrapped his arm around her, pressing a kiss into her hair. Best tilt of my life, he said. They watched the rain together, hands intertwined, the space between their heartbeats perfectly aligned. And in that quiet, electric stillness, both of them knew. Some collisions are accidents, others are destiny.